Alina's quarters aboard the Resilience felt smaller than usual as she paced, the holographic recording of Ambassador Tholox playing on repeat. Each time, those cold, multifaceted eyes seemed to stare directly at her. "Your species represents an unacceptable anomaly," the translator rendered Tholox's clicking speech. "The Stellar Confederation has observed 17 developing civilizations reach your current technological phase. All followed predictable advancement trajectories. You did not." She paused the recording, studying the alien's crystalline exoskeleton. The Confederation ambassador stood nearly 3 meters tall, with a body that seemed to refract light from within. A chime at her door interrupted her thoughts. Dr. Amit Sharma entered, his usually immaculate appearance now disheveled after 30 hours analyzing the alien language patterns. "Please tell me you found something we can use," Alina said. Amit collapsed into a chair, dark circles under his eyes. "Their language contains no concept of compromise. Every translation variation I've attempted receives the same response: return to Earth or face extinction." Alina pulled up the solar system map, where red markers indicated Confederation vessels now positioned throughout human-occupied space. 12 major colony sites, millions of lives, all under direct threat. "They've given us 1 year," she said. "Why not just eliminate us immediately?" "I think," Amit said carefully, "they genuinely believe they're being merciful. Their communications refer to something called the Great Harmony. They see themselves as gardeners of a sort, pruning threats before they can spread." The ship's AI announced an incoming transmission from Earth's United Command. Admiral Santos appeared on screen, her expression grave. "Commander Reyes, the Security Council has reached a decision. You're authorized to request a face-to-face meeting aboard their vessel." Alina felt her stomach tighten. "With respect, Admiral, we have no guarantee they'll honor diplomatic protocols." "We have no guarantee of anything," Santos replied. "But we need time, and this buys us some. Your linguistic specialist and a small security detail will accompany you." After the transmission ended, Alina turned to find Amit staring at the frozen image of Ambassador Tholox. "What aren't you telling me?" she asked. He hesitated. "There's something in their language pattern, contradictions I can't reconcile. Their technological advancement suggests thousands of years beyond us, yet their communication methods are rigid, almost like they're following a script. A weakness? I don't know, but something doesn't align with their supposed superiority." 2 days later, Alina stood in the docking bay as her team prepared to board the shuttle. Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez checked weapons they likely couldn't use. Security Chief Paddle reviewed emergency protocols that probably wouldn't work, and Dr. Sharma packed translation equipment that might be their only hope. As they prepared to depart, Alina received a private message from Captain Chen, now coordinating defense strategies from Eurova base. Their rivalry during Academy days had blossomed into respect, then something more complicated before duty separated them. His message was brief. "They expect us to think like them. Don't." The shuttle departed the Resilience, approaching the massive Confederation mothership hanging in space like an obsidian snowflake. Its surface rippled with strange energies, and as they approached the designated docking area, Alina felt a peculiar sensation, like someone walking through her thoughts. "They're scanning us," Amit whispered. "Not just our ship. Us." The docking clamps engaged with a shudder. Beyond the airlock waited humanity's first formal diplomatic contact with an alien civilization, one that had already decided humanity's fate. Alina straightened her uniform. "Remember who we represent," she told her team. "Everything that makes us human is now our greatest asset." The airlock cycled open. The asteroid base, designated Sanctuary, had been hollowed out decades ago as an emergency shelter during the Mars tensions. Now, it served as humanity's secret laboratory. Alina watched Captain Chen examine the captured alien technology, his fingers hovering above the crystalline surface. "It responds differently to each person who touches it," he said, not looking up. "When Dr. Sharma interfaces with it, The patterns shift toward communication protocols. When I touch it, he placed his palm on the surface. The crystal flared with aggressive red patterns. It thinks you're a threat, Elena observed. It thinks we're all threats, Chen corrected. Just different kinds. He gestured toward the adjacent lab where Maya Santos lay connected to monitoring equipment. She's our breakthrough. The device responds to her in ways we never anticipated. Through the observation window, Elena watched Maya's expression shift between concentration and wonder as neural interfaces recorded her brain activity. The alien artifact pulsed in synchronization with her thoughts. She's not controlling it, explained Dr. Sharma, approaching with data tablets. She's conversing with it. Their technology is partly organic, designed to respond only to specific neural patterns. The Confederation species all share a similar brain structure, rhythmic, harmonic, predictable. And humans don't. Elena finished the thought. Precisely. We're neurologically jazz while they're classical symphony. Maya's particularly improvisational. Elena studied the young engineer's file. Maya Santos had been rejected from the military academy twice for excessive creative thinking, before finding her place in experimental engineering. The Confederation views this as our weakness. Sharma continued. They classify our neural patterns as dangerous chaos, but their systems have no defenses against it because they never imagined anything could think differently. A technician approached, handing Elena a secure tablet. Priority message from Mars Colony, Commander. The report confirmed her fears. Confederation ships had positioned themselves around every major human settlement. No overtly hostile actions, but their message was clear. We're watching. We have 8 months before their deadline, Elena said. How quickly can we weaponize this discovery? Before Chen could answer, alarms blared. Maya's monitors showed spiking activity. Through the window, they watched as the alien artifact suddenly projected a holographic display. Star charts, ship positions, and what appeared to be communications frequencies. She's seeing into their network, Sharma whispered in awe. Chen was already moving. Lock down all transmissions if they detect this connection. Too late. The artifact emitted a high-pitched tone. Maya convulsed once before technicians disconnected her. The holographic display vanished. Status report, Elena demanded. She's stable, a medical officer confirmed. But the device sent a burst transmission before shutting down. Silence fell over the command center. Everyone understood the implications. They know we're experimenting with their technology, Chen said. Elena's communicator chimed with an incoming transmission. Origin, the Confederation mothership, an unexpected sender. Nexus, the crystalline liaison, assigned to Earth's diplomatic team. The message contained only 6 words. They are coming. Not everyone agrees. Elena looked at Chen. Prep the evacuation protocols. Dr. Sharma, download everything we've learned. And get Maya ready for transport. She's now our most valuable asset. Where are we going? Sharma asked. Europa Station, Elena replied. We need Captain Chen's prototype defense systems, and we need Maya's connection to their tech. We have hours, maybe less. As the base erupted into controlled chaos, Elena studied the alien artifact, now inert. The Confederation believed humans too unpredictable to exist in their orderly cosmos. They would soon discover just how right they were. The Europa research facility hummed with desperate activity. 5 days had passed since the destruction of Phobos, and humanity's collective grief had hardened into resolve. Elena stood before the neural interface chair, its surface now modified with components salvaged from the captured scout ship. The simulations suggest a 60% chance of permanent neurological damage, Dr. Sharma said, checking diagnostics one final time. Even with the buffers, your brain will experience patterns it wasn't designed to process. Elena removed her commander's insignia, handing it to Maya. Hold this for me. I expect it back when this works. Captain Chen stepped forward, his usual tactical coolness replaced with something Elena hadn't seen before. Fear. This is reckless, he said quietly. "We should test it on the prisoner first." In a containment chamber nearby, the only captured Confederation pilot sat motionless, its crystalline body reflecting the harsh lighting. Unlike Ambassador Thalox, this one was smaller, its surface patterns suggesting youth. "The prisoner's neural patterns are too different," Alina replied. "We learn nothing applicable to humans. Besides, we're not them. We don't experiment on prisoners." Maya approached with the modified helmet. "I've adjusted the feedback dampeners based on my experience. Focus on mathematics when it gets overwhelming. Simple equations, multiplication tables, anything structured. It gives your mind something to anchor to when the alien patterns try to rearrange your thinking." The medical team attached monitoring devices to Alina's temples and wrists. Dr. Sharma's voice became clinical, masking his concern. "We'll terminate the connection at the first sign of seizure activity. The stimulant cocktail should help maintain consciousness through the initial shock." Alina settled into the chair, meeting Chen's eyes one last time. "If this works, we have a fighting chance. If not..." She managed to smile. "Promote Maya. She thinks differently. That's what we need now." The helmet lowered, connecting with the neural interface ports. Alina felt cold metal against her skin, then a sensation like ice water flowing into her brain. "Connection initializing," someone said, their voice suddenly distant. The world shattered into fragments of light. Alina gasped as her consciousness expanded beyond her body. She saw everything. Confederation ships throughout the solar system, connected by invisible threads of communication. She could feel the aliens' perfectly ordered thoughts, their harmonious consciousness so different from human individuality. She reached out, finding the weapons systems aboard the nearest vessel, a destroyer orbiting Mars. Mathematical patterns governed its targeting mechanisms, beautiful in their precision. Alina introduced a discordant thought, a deliberate mathematical error. Warning lights flared across the Confederation network. The destroyer systems initiated diagnostic sequences, weapons temporarily disabled. Alina pushed further, spreading the chaos to 2 more ships before pain exploded behind her eyes. Blood pressure spiking. Someone shouted from impossibly far away. Alina tried to focus on multiplication tables as Maya had suggested, but the alien mathematics invaded her thoughts. She saw impossible colors spiraling through dimensions that shouldn't exist. Equations that described reality itself unfolded in her mind. "Pull her out." Chen's voice cut through the chaos. As the connection severed, Alina's world went black, then blindingly white. When her vision cleared, she found herself on the floor, medical teams surrounding her. But something was wrong. Half the room had disappeared, replaced by mathematical symbols hovering in space. "I can't see properly," she whispered. Dr. Sharma's face appeared, split between normal vision and overlapping patterns. "What do you see?" "Everything," Alina said, reaching toward symbols only she could see. "Their ships, their networks, their thoughts. They're so certain, so afraid of change." She grabbed Chen's arm. "We can beat them, not with weapons, with unpredictability." On screens around the lab, reports flooded in from Mars orbit. 3 Confederation ships had unexpectedly withdrawn, their systems malfunctioning. "It worked," Maya breathed. Alina smiled despite the pain. "Get me more volunteers. And Captain, prepare your pilots. We just changed the rules of engagement." Alina stood at the viewport of the stealth corvette Defiance, watching Jupiter's swirling storms through her altered vision. Her left eye now overlaid Confederation data networks onto physical reality, ship positions appearing as glowing nodes, communication frequencies as colored threads connecting them. The neural amplifier at her temple hummed faintly, stabilizing her connection to the alien systems. "Strike team is in position." Chen's voice came through the comm. "Waiting for your signal." 2 months of guerrilla operations had yielded unexpected success. 26 volunteers now operated with neural interfaces, each experiencing different perceptual changes. Some could disrupt weapons, others navigation, Alina's unique ability to perceive the entire network made her their most valuable asset and their most vulnerable. "Begin approach," she ordered. "Remember, 30 seconds maximum connection time." 3 small attack craft detached from the Defiance, moving toward a Confederation patrol vessel. On Alina's command, the neural operators activated their interfaces simultaneously. Through her enhanced vision, Alina watched the alien ship's defensive grid flicker as human thoughts introduced chaos into its systems. The patrol ship's engine suddenly flared, attempting emergency maneuvers. Too late. The human strike craft launched electromagnetic pulse warheads that detonated against the temporarily vulnerable hull. The Confederation vessel went dark, disabled but intact. "Boarding team, go," Chen ordered. Alina monitored the operation through her neural connection, aware that every second risked detection by the Confederation's Central Intelligence. The boarding team moved efficiently, securing the alien crew and downloading critical data before withdrawing. Victory. Another small win in an impossible war. As the team returned to the Defiance, Alina's vision suddenly flooded with warning patterns. A massive energy signature appeared near Callisto, far larger than any Confederation vessel they'd encountered. "We need to move," she snapped. "Now." The Defiance accelerated away from Jupiter as the massive signature resolved into a planet killer, the weapon Nexus had warned them about. Alina staggered as her neural link provided unwanted insight into its capabilities. "It's not just a weapon," she whispered. "It's their judge." Back at Europa Base, the command staff gathered to review the stolen data. Dr. Sharma's expression was grim as he presented the findings. "The planet killer doesn't just destroy worlds," he explained. "It evaluates them first. The Confederation believes they're enforcing cosmic harmony, not committing genocide." "That's semantics when you're vaporizing planets," Chen said. "No, it's crucial," Alina interjected. "It means they need to justify their actions to themselves. They have a code." Maya entered the briefing room, followed by their unexpected ally. Nexus moved in fluid motions, its crystalline body catching the light. The defector had proven invaluable, though most humans still found its presence unsettling. "The Arbiter has arrived," Nexus confirmed, using the proper name for the planet killer. "It will begin its assessment of Mars in 3 days. Once it renders judgment, no appeal is possible." "How does it judge?" Alina asked. "It analyzes thought patterns across the planet. If it finds sufficient harmony with Confederation principles, species are offered membership. If not..." Nexus's crystalline surface dimmed. Alina's neural implant suddenly flared, overwhelming her with input. She collapsed against the briefing table, gasping. Strange coordinates flooded her mind, along with a feeling of recognition. "There's something else out there," she managed as the pain subsided. "Something ancient, something the Confederation fears." She projected the coordinates, a region in the outer Kuiper belt where no human had ventured. "What's out there?" Chen asked Nexus. The crystalline being's surface patterns shifted to a frequency Alina had never seen before. "Hope," Nexus replied. "And chaos older than stars." The exploratory vessel Pathfinder drifted at the outer reaches of the Kuiper belt, its engines silent to avoid detection. 8 days of travel had brought them to the coordinates Alina had seen in her vision. Now, they waited in the darkness between worlds. Alina stood on the observation deck, her enhanced vision scanning the void. Dr. Sharma worked nearby, monitoring her neural patterns, while Maya calibrated sensing equipment modified with Confederation technology. "There's nothing out here," Chen said, joining them after checking ship systems. "Our long-range scanners show no mass signatures, no energy readings." "It's here," Alina insisted. "I can feel it through the neural link. Something watching us." Nexus moved to the viewport, its crystalline body reflecting starlight in geometric patterns. "The drift do not exist as you understand existence. They are between states, between moments." "You're saying they exist outside normal spacetime?" Dr. Sharma asked. "I am saying they exist within it differently," Nexus clarified. The Confederation cannot perceive them because the Confederation requires order. The drift are the opposite of order. Alina's neural implant suddenly flared with activity. She gasped, pressing her palm against the viewport. They're here, all around us. The others saw nothing but empty space, but through Alina's enhanced perception, the void filled with swirling patterns of colored gases, blues, purples, and colors with no human names. The patterns moved with purpose, surrounding the ship. They're scanning us, she whispered, trying to understand. Maya's instruments began registering anomalous readings. Energy fluctuations all around us, but nothing our systems can classify. Alina felt a gentle pressure against her consciousness, not invasive like the Confederation's harmonics, but curious, questioning. She opened her thoughts, allowing the contact. Images flooded her mind, worlds beyond imagination, civilizations rising and falling, and the Confederation's early days. 8 founding species working in harmony before something changed. She saw the drift being hunted, their chaotic thought patterns deemed dangerous, their refusal to be corrected making them outcasts. They were the 8th founding member, Alina gasped. They refused harmonization and fled rather than be changed. The pressure in her mind increased, becoming almost uncomfortable as the drift sought understanding of human neural patterns. Alina felt herself slipping away, her consciousness expanding beyond the ship. Pull her back. Chen's voice sounded distant. Dr. Sharma rushed forward with a neural dampener, but Alina raised her hand to stop him. No, they need to understand us. All of us. She projected her memories, Earth's history, human creativity, music, art, science born from competitive chaos, and the desperate fight against extinction they now faced. She showed the drift how humans embraced both harmony and discord, how creativity emerged from the tension between order and chaos. When she finally opened her eyes, the observation deck had transformed. The void around the ship now visibly swirled with gaseous entities. The drift had adjusted themselves to human perception. A voice resonated in all their minds simultaneously, not in words but in concepts and emotions that translated imperfectly to language. Different minds, like us, hunted for chaos. Alina stepped forward. Yes, we need your help. The largest mass of swirling gases moved closer to the viewport, forming patterns that somehow suggested a face. Harmonizers come to silence all different thoughts. We hid. You fight. We have no choice, Chen said. It's our nature. The drift entity seemed to consider this. Your chaos patterns, stronger than ours, unexpected by harmonizers. Dr. Sharma stepped forward. Can you teach us about space-time manipulation? We have technology, but lack understanding. The gaseous entity swirled in what might have been amusement. Not teach, show. Suddenly, every human aboard felt their perception shift. The universe revealed itself not as rigid dimensions, but as malleable patterns, energy states that could fold and bend. Alina understood immediately what the drift were offering, not weapons, but perspective. We need to get this knowledge back to Europa, she said, before the Arbiter reaches Mars. As the Pathfinder prepared to depart, the drift entity transmitted one final message. Harmonizers fear what they cannot control. Chaos is creation. Harmony without change is death. Alina nodded. We understand, and will prove it. The hidden laboratory beneath Europa's ice glowed with unearthly light as the Pandora device took shape. Engineers worked alongside scientists, integrating salvaged Confederation technology with components designed according to drift principles. At the center stood 5 neural interface chairs, arranged in a pentagonal pattern. Alina studied the holographic schematics, her enhanced vision allowing her to see potential energy flows that others couldn't perceive. The calibration is still off, she said, pointing to connection nodes. The neural patterns will clash instead of interweaving. Dr. Sharma adjusted parameters, watching as simulated energy flows shifted. We're attempting something that contradicts fundamental Confederation principles. Their technology resists being used this way. That's the point, Maya said, entering with freshly fabricated circuit pathways. Their systems can't defend against what they can't comprehend. Above them, the evacuation of Mars continued as millions crowded onto transport ships. The Arbiter had taken position in high orbit, its evaluation protocols already scanning the planet's population. They had less than 48 hours before judgment would be rendered. Captain Chen arrived from the command center, his expression grim. The diversionary fleet is in position, but we've detected unusual movement patterns among Confederation forces. They may suspect something. We need more time, Dr. Sharma said. Time is the one resource we don't have, Elena replied. She turned to Maya. The simulations show the neural feedback will be severe. Are you certain about volunteering? The young engineer nodded. My brain already established connection pathways from the earlier experiments. I'm your best chance for a stable interface. Nexus approached, its crystalline form now modified with human-designed components that allowed better communication. I have completed analysis of the 3 remaining candidates. The mathematician shows highest compatibility potential. The mathematician was Dr. Eliza Chen, Captain Chen's younger sister, whose work on chaos theory had proven unexpectedly relevant to understanding drift principles. The other volunteers were a composer whose brain showed unusual pattern generation and a professional poker player known for unpredictable decision-making. 5 minds, thinking in controlled discord, Elena explained to the assembled team. Something only humans can achieve. The Confederation builds everything on harmonic unity, their technology, their society, their very perception of reality. We're going to introduce the one thing they have no defense against. Jazz, Maya said with a slight smile. Precisely, Elena confirmed. Improvisation within structure, unpredictability with purpose. As final preparations were made, Captain Chen pulled Elena aside. The survival calculations. I've seen them, she interrupted. 18% chance for the neural team. It doesn't matter. It matters to me, he said quietly. Their eyes held for a moment, acknowledging what remained unspoken between them. If we succeed, Elena said, the Confederation will experience something entirely new. Not destruction, but evolution. If we fail, Mars dies first, then Earth, Chen finished, and humanity becomes a footnote in their history of cosmic harmony. The 5 volunteers underwent final medical preparations as technicians calibrated the neural interfaces. Elena felt strange calm as doctors attached monitoring devices to her body. Her enhanced perception already showed her the potential energy patterns of what they were about to attempt. Beautiful in their complexity, terrifying in their power. Neural synchronization in 3 minutes, Dr. Sharma announced. Maya, secured in the adjacent chair, caught Elena's eye. When it begins, think of music, she advised. It helps navigate the chaos. The mathematician, the composer, and the poker player took their positions, each connected to the central system that would channel their combined neural patterns into the Pandora device. Diversion fleet engaging Confederation forces. Chen reported from the command console. Elena closed her eyes as the neural interface activated. Let's show them how humans dance. The last thing she heard before the connection engulfed her consciousness was Dr. Sharma's voice, calm despite the tension. Pandora activation sequence initiated. Then the world dissolved into beautiful chaos. Elena no longer existed as a single consciousness. She was simultaneously herself and part of a greater network. The mathematician's structured patterns, the composer's rhythmic creativity, the poker player's strategic unpredictability, and Maya's intuitive understanding of systems, all flowing through her enhanced perception. Through this composite awareness, she perceived the quantum uncertainty field expanding outward from Europa like invisible lightning. It traveled faster than light, operating on principles the drift had shown them, manipulating probability states rather than conventional physics. The first Confederation ship affected was a defensive cruiser near Jupiter. They watched as its perfectly harmonized systems encountered chaotic quantum fluctuations. Warning signals cascaded through its network as weapons systems initiated emergency diagnostics, navigation failed, and communication arrays broadcast contradictory commands. "It's working," the mathematician portion of their shared consciousness analyzed. Pattern disruption at 87% efficiency. The uncertainty field reached Mars' orbit just as the Arbiter prepared its evaluation beam. The massive planet killer's energy collectors glowed with accumulated power, but as the field enveloped it, the precisely calculated beam distorted wildly. Instead of striking Mars, it lashed out at random, severing the command section of a Confederation battleship. Through their expanded awareness, they felt the confusion spreading through the alien fleet, not just system failures but genuine cognitive dissonance. The perfectly ordered minds of the Confederation species had never experienced such chaos. Captain Chen's voice came through their shared perception, somehow reaching past the neural maelstrom. "Whatever you're doing, keep it up. The Confederation fleet is breaking formation. Some vessels are retreating." The neural team pushed harder, expanding the field's reach. But the strain was immense. Alina felt the poker player's consciousness flicker as neural overload threatened his brain functions. She extended her own awareness to shield him, distributing the load. "We can't maintain this configuration much longer," Maya's presence warned within their network, neural degradation accelerating. Through the quantum field, Alina sensed a new presence entering the system, the Supreme Commander's vessel, its hull composed of materials designed to resist quantum manipulation. It moved with purpose toward Earth, ignoring the chaos surrounding it. "They've adapted," the composer's patterns signaled. "Their flagship has quantum shielding." Alina pushed deeper into the field, expanding her perception beyond the solar system. She glimpsed the Confederation homeworlds, 7 planets of perfect order, billions of minds thinking in harmony, and beneath it all, a deep existential fear of chaos. In that moment, she understood. Their terror wasn't malicious but born from genuine belief that disorder threatened universal stability. They weren't evil. They were limited by their own harmony. From the Europa facility, Nexus established connection with the neural network. "I am transmitting to the Confederation leadership," the crystalline being communicated, "showing them what I've learned about humanity." Through their shared consciousness, Alina felt Nexus broadcasting images of human civilization, not just war and conflict, but art, music, scientific discovery, cooperation born from diversity of thought. Most importantly, it transmitted the neural patterns of the 5 connected humans, the complex, beautiful chaos of their interacting minds. The Supreme Commander's vessel halted its approach to Earth. Through the quantum field, Alina sensed confusion, then curiosity emanating from its command center. "They're listening," Maya's presence whispered through their connection. The mathematician's patterns calculated, field integrity at 31% and falling. "We have minutes at most." Alina gathered the fragmented consciousness of her team, focusing their remaining energy into a final effort. "Then let's make them count." With their last reserves of strength, they projected not attacks but understanding, the perspective the drift had given them, where chaos and order weren't enemies but complementary forces necessary for cosmic evolution. The Supreme Commander's response came as a telepathic probe, cautious yet curious, touching their connected minds with a question that transcended language. "How do you survive your own unpredictability?" Alina answered with everything she was, her hopes, fears, failures, triumphs, the full spectrum of human experience condensed into pure emotional truth. As darkness closed in around her consciousness, the last thing she perceived was astonishment radiating from the Supreme Commander's mind. Alina floated in darkness, disconnected from both her body and the neural network. Had she died? Failed? Succeeded? Time had no meaning here. Gradually, she became aware of a presence surrounding her. Not the composite consciousness of the neural team, but something vaster. Through it, she perceived echoes of conversations, decisions being made, transformations beginning. A familiar crystalline thought pattern approached. Nexus, somehow reaching her in this between state. Elena Reyes, the thought voice resonated. You exist within the quantum field itself. Your consciousness separated from your physical form during the final connection. Understanding bloomed. The others, alive, changed, but recovering. You alone merged completely with Pandora. Memory returned in fragments. The Supreme Commander's question, her response, then dissolution as her mind expanded beyond biological constraints. The Confederation. Transformed. Nexus replied. Your shared experience created what we never imagined possible, a bridge between harmony and chaos. Images formed around her, the Supreme Commander standing before the Confederation Council, describing the revelation experienced when touched by human consciousness. The ancient prophecy reinterpreted, not a warning of destruction, but a promise of evolution through creative chaos. How long? Elena asked. 5 years have passed since Pandora's activation. The shock would have staggered her, had she still possessed a body. 5 years. What had become of humanity? Of Chen, Maya, Earth? As if responding to her thoughts, the formless space around her resolved into scenes from across the solar system. Mars thrived, its colonies expanded. Earth's cities gleamed with integrated Confederation and drift-inspired technologies. Research stations orbited Jupiter, where humans worked alongside crystalline beings. And there was Chen, older, a streak of silver in his hair, now Admiral Chen, commanding a joint exploration vessel staffed by humans and former Confederation species. The Stellar Coalition, Nexus explained. 8 species working as equals, each contributing their unique perspectives. Your sacrifice showed us that true harmony requires diversity, not uniformity. Sacrifice. The word resonated strangely. Am I dead, Nexus? Not dead. Evolved. Your consciousness exists partially within space-time itself, anchored to the quantum field Pandora created. You have become the living bridge between our kinds. Elena tried to process this impossible existence. Can I communicate with them? With Chen. We've constructed an interface in the Jupiter station. Through it, aspects of your consciousness can interact with the physical world. The darkness around her shifted, revealing a circular chamber where a swirling interface of light responded to visitors. She saw Maya, now visibly older but with the same bright intelligence in her eyes, explaining the phenomenon to a young girl. That's Commander Santos now, Nexus clarified. With her daughter. The child reached toward the swirling lights, toward Elena's essence, with wonder rather than fear. She's beautiful, the girl whispered as patterns responded to her touch. Maya smiled. Yes, she is. And so is the universe she helped us discover. Elena felt an impossible emotion, joy mingled with loss, fulfillment with sacrifice. She had become something beyond human yet uniquely human still. The ultimate battle for space, Nexus reflected, wasn't won through destruction. No, Elena completed the thought, her consciousness expanding once more to embrace her new existence. It was won through humanity's greatest gift, the courage to embrace the unknown. Around her, the quantum field pulsed with potential, countless futures branching from this moment of understanding between order and chaos. Elena reached toward them all, no longer Commander Reyes, but something new, humanity's first ambassador to infinity. In the Jupiter station, the swirling interface brightened momentarily, forming a pattern recognized by all who saw it. The mathematical equation that described harmony and chaos as complementary forces in a universe where both were necessary for life to flourish. The ultimate victory.